and send it to the Gap. Or we have also the Gap Employee Signature Campaign, in which we need to gather signatures of the past and present Gap employees to foster worker-to-worker solidarity. Or organize your school to have an anti-sweatshop movement. Join the United Students Against Sweatshop. You could email E. Bracken. This is their national coordinator. It's E. Bracken.
Are there any major workers' movements?
Oh yeah, until now I am organizing Saipan. The company where I work, Cycle Corporation, I think they will having another union election this coming March. I'm still organizing them, and it's really hard because all of them were contract workers. It's really hard to organize them. But what I'm thinking is, if we have just one, I think other factories, other workers in other factories might follow.
And who didn't want to have abortions were fired. I was wondering what happens to them. Are they sent back, or are they just left outside the gate and on the island, or what happens?
Before the union organizing drive, what these companies were doing, if the women get fired, they just send them back home. They were just given I think 20 days notice, and then send them back to their homeland, China, Philippines, or whatever. But after the union organizing campaign, they don't fire pregnant women.
Do these women have to pay for their own abortions, or does the company pay for them?
So they really have to pay for their own abortions. Because they want to preserve them. And most of the people that I mentioned to you earlier were non-English or could barely speak English. That's the hardest part. Yeah.
And does U.S. federal law apply to all the factories there?
No. I don't know what's the connivance between these corporations and the government, local government of Saipan. Just like California, you have your own government, right? It's like that. I don't know what's the connivance. That's why right now there's a bill, that we must pass or must be passed. There's another law.
So GAP has a code of conduct. Are they actually breaking the code of conduct, or are they bending the rules, or like saying that they're?
There is really, I admire GAP vendors code of conduct. Posted in Stanford Corporation, it is posted beside the production office. But the truth in there is only the Filipinos could understand it because it is written in English. And most of the people could barely, speak. They could not read. So, and besides, they don't implement their GAP vendors code of conduct. It's just like a propaganda or, a display or whatever. Just a flower base like that.
So when they give those out to customers saying that
Yeah.
and they say that they're following this, they're lying.
They're lying. They have their own what you call these inspectors, the GAP inspectors. But what I'm thinking is might be corruption, just to guard, just like Pacifica, like that. Just not to speak the truth. He said, oh, they are all fine there, but the truth is we are not all fine. Yes.
Have you ever worked in any other company sweatshops, and if you have, how do they compare to the GAP?
I haven't really worked in sweatshops, but it's just my first time, and I lasted 6 years in working there. But we all thought that we would be going to a part of the United States. We know that it's not in United States mainland. We know that's the part of the United States wherein American rules will apply. We have the right to organize a union. That's what we studied in the Philippines. Yes.
Is there any way to tell? They said in the 2020 that they were using the labels that said "Made in the USA," but I noticed that one of them said "imported fabric." Is there any way to tell what's actually made, like in the USA, with the rules applying as opposed to inside then?
Again, please.
Is there any way to tell the difference between? Is there a way to tell if they're made inside then from the label?
Yeah. Right now, only right now, when we file this lawsuit, it says they're now made in the Northern Marianas Islands. Right now, but before, from the fabrics, buttons, threads, all came from the third world countries, just like the Vietnam, Hong Kong. The labels came from Hong Kong. That's where they manufacture all your labels, Hong Kong made. And the fabrics came from Korea, China, or whatever. And when they export the goods here in the United States mainland, it's tax-free. You know what I mean? Cheap labor, cheap materials, duty-free, tax-free. That's it. Yeah.
And how are they responding? And
Well, I'll tell the story.
yay!
I went to Vidya, I and Kevin and some people at the Global Exchange went into this GOP shareholders meeting in one of the hotel downtown. I forgot the name of the hotel. I think Hilton. They dressed me up so fancy, in which I hate it very well, in suit and everything. And they bought a lot of GOP shares of stocks so that I could come in. And then, I came in there, and then and then there's this miscellaneous portion wherein you need to stand up. So I stood up very quickly and I spoke. I said, I'm Chie, I'm bam bam bam, the condition. I tell the horrible condition that I've encountered. And I said, finally, I've been traveling around the United States since I came here and continue speaking against the GAP, and I will continue to do this until the GAP respects the rights of the workers who produce this clothing. Then, because the Global Exchange bought a jacket with hood and with GAP in it, I raised like that.
Let's see how close can we get close.
Dude, that's not even cool.
It is cool.
No, we can like.
I can see your pores.